My husband and I have 3 children, a 22-year-old son, a nearly adult daughter, and a tween daughter. Our oldest moved out 2 years ago and married his high school girlfriend around that time. We warned them that they should wait a while before getting married, but they wouldn't listen. They got married and seemed fine for about 18 months. However, last November, we received a call from our son saying that they were getting a divorce. I listened to both sides before making any decisions. He admitted to having an affair since a few weeks after their marriage. He was even engaged to the other woman. I was disappointed in him, and we let our daughter-in-law stay with us while she got back on her feet. Her parents live out of state. He is no longer with the other woman. He apologized, but he had many excuses. I have always liked my daughter-in-law. She is a genuine and kind young woman who did not deserve to be treated the way she was. She is in a better place now, and we still keep in touch and visit each other occasionally. However, my husband does not keep in touch with her. He stopped contacting her after the divorce. Our youngest child does not know why their marriage ended, but our older daughter found out from our son during a call and disowned him. The divorce proceedings were ongoing during the holidays, so we asked our son to keep his distance during Thanksgiving and Christmas. However, a couple of weeks ago he asked if he could visit. My husband wanted to let him stay the night since it is a 2-hour drive to get here, but I was uncomfortable with that. I do not believe that infidelity is something that should be forgiven or forgotten, even if you are not directly affected by it. I do not want my children to think that they can mistreat their partners and then act like everything is fine. I told my son that he could visit briefly, but he could not stay overnight. Eventually, he agreed and only stayed for 15 minutes. He left once his sister started yelling at him. My husband thinks that I'm holding on to a grudge for too long. He also believes that maintaining a friendship with our son's ex-wife is inappropriate. Am I the one in the wrong here? You are not in the wrong. I always thought that parents were supposed to love their children unconditionally. Your son made a big mistake. I understand your disappointment, but you even mentioned that you had a feeling this would happen when you warned them before their marriage. What if this new woman he is engaged to is the one for him? Are you willing to push away your son and potential new daughter-in-law just to maintain a friendship with his ex-wife? While he did make mistakes, at least he was honest with you about them. Refusing to see him as your son will only create trust issues between the two of you. He did not cheat on you, and your relationship with your children is different from the one they have with their parents. He's barely an adult, and punishing him for extended lengths of time could lead him to spiral in ways you're unprepared for. Don't make an already bad situation worse. So you are the idiot. But this isn't a simple mistake. A week after getting married, he was cheating for 18 months and engaged to that girl? I understand her not wanting to make him think that it's okay. But also, that spiral would be a consequence of his own actions. He isn't some little kid who cheated on a test. He's an adult who for 18 months cheated on his wife. OMG, there are so many defenders of cheaters here. If he wants forgiveness, he can seek it. But apparently he doesn't even feel sorry. Love him unconditionally? What if he kills someone or worse? Should OP still love him? As a parent, you have the right to judge him and distance yourself. If he wants to reconcile with his family, he should start working on himself and own up to his wrongdoings. OP, you are not the idiot, and you're right that his actions reflect on his character. Don't listen to those who say, "Not my house, not my problem." Do you really think infidelity should be placed on the same level as murder? Infidelity has many levels. To outright judge someone without speaking to them about their choices is wrong, especially when it's your child. Your son was so young when he got married. He possibly felt trapped and overwhelmed and handled the situation very poorly. Your son is hopefully very aware of the pain he caused. Do you need to punish him forever? It seems like you are willing to lose so much for a moral stance. Pay attention to this if you want to have any chance of seeing your future grandchildren. I, a 22-year-old female, found out last week that I'm expecting my first baby, a little girl. My family is excited that I decided to do a small gender reveal over the Easter weekend. I had this planned for Saturday, A few days before, I asked a small local business if she could please make 12 cupcakes with pink and blue icing on top, and pink icing in the middle. She agreed and said they would be ready to collect on Friday evening. The plan was to pick up the cupcakes on Friday, invite friends and family over on Saturday, and give some guests a cupcake that would reveal the gender. I only invited a few guests, as my apartment is fairly small, and I didn't want to do a large gender reveal anyway, just something cute and fun. Plus, everyone loves cupcakes. So on Friday evening, I went to the small business owner's apartment, Claire, and she gave me her address to collect the cupcakes from. She said they would cost £25 and would be ready to collect whenever. I drove to her apartment and knocked on the door. She greeted me with the box of cupcakes, and they looked amazing. They were exactly how I imagined them, and I thanked her for them. She gave me the box, but just as she did, her large pet dog came running up to me, barking, and jumped at me, knocking the box of cupcakes all over the floor. Claire apologized and shut the dog inside. He was still barking and jumping at the door. She said it's because he gets excited when people come and visit, but he wouldn't have hurt me, as he's friendly. At this point, I didn't know the damage to the cupcakes as the box landed upside down. I picked it up, and the cakes were ruined. The icing had smashed all over the box, and some of the cakes had spilled out onto the ground. Claire looked horrified, as I understood she spent a few hours making them for me. She apologized and said she could remake them for free, but they wouldn't be ready until Sunday. I said, unfortunately, I'm expecting my guests tomorrow and Sunday's no good as I already had other plans. I explained I wouldn't be paying for these cupcakes as they were inedible and ruined by her dog. We agreed to pay upon receiving the goods, and since I never received them, I wouldn't be paying. They were inedible and ruined by her dog. She said that I should still pay as she had to buy ingredients for the cakes, and the cost of eggs had gone up, meaning she would be out of pocket. I said that if she had control of her dog, then maybe they wouldn't have been dropped. And I'm sorry, but again, I wouldn't be paying. So I got in my car and left without the cupcakes. I still had guests attend on Saturday. I announced the gender in person, rather than some cupcakes, but it was still nice spending time with my friends and family. My family was all happy, but my sister-in-law said I should have still paid for the cupcakes, as she accepted it was her fault and offered to remake them for me. I personally don't think I should have had to pay for them, but now I'm feeling slightly guilty, as I understand it's a small business, and a loss of profit would affect her a lot harder than a larger business. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's a business owner. She needs to act like a professional. Having a wild, uncontrollable dog jumping all over your customers and knocking your product out of their hands as they try to pick it up is not acting like a professional. This has nothing to do with the cost of eggs. She knows her dog doesn't behave and therefore should crate it or lock it in another room when she's meeting customers. No way you should pay a dime for those cupcakes you couldn't use. If she could have remade them for you that day and delivered them to your house, sure, but you had no use for them a week later. Her fault, so she eats the cost. The attempted guilt trip makes no sense. She insists that you pay for the ruined cupcakes, or else she'll be out of pocket. She also offers to make another batch for free, meaning she's out the same amount as she would lose by you not paying for the first batch. Her dog, her fault, her loss. She might be good at baking, but math is clearly not her strong suit. Dog owners need to understand that their pet's excitement can have consequences. Also, if the dog is that wild, I wonder how much of him got into those cupcakes. A little piece of him in every bite. If she doesn't lock it up, no one gets jumped on. She definitely doesn't restrict its access to the kitchen, which is unsanitary. Background: I started dating Alice, a 28-year-old female, in February. We are not officially together because I am focused on building my own business. She is taking things easy after being in an abusive relationship with her ex. I have been in 2 serious relationships in the past and have loved 2 girls. The photo: Alice was hanging out at my place and we were looking at the art on my walls. My mom is a painter, and I also have several other collages and pop art pieces. I keep a few framed photos on the shelves, including ones of my parents, college friends, and extended family. There is an upper shelf where I have more photos like this. One of them is a black and white photo of a butt seen from the side in jeans. Think something like an artistic jeans advertisement, but it's just the butt. Alice saw it, laughed it off, and thought it was either the default stock photo they put in the frame when they sell it, or something meant to be artistic, though she said it was a bit weird. But I told her it's one of my exes. I liked the photo and kept it. It's not the first thing you see in my room, and I don't have the typical couple photos of either of my exes. The conflict. Alice said she found it inappropriate because, 1, maybe the ex would feel uncomfortable knowing I still keep a fairly intimate photo for everyone to see. And 2, she simply felt uncomfortable not being sure how I feel about my ex. We got into an argument, and Alice said that what if we break up? I'll do the same with her photo. I'm supposedly the idiot because I keep a photo that I simply like artistically. Am I the idiot? Yeah, that's weird. It doesn't matter if it's artsy, it's an intimate photo that you framed and put up, not just someone, your ex. Of course, the poor girl has a problem with it. It shows you're a freak who frames and puts up intimate photos of girls, and it's an ex of yours. You are the idiot. Dude, what do you expect? You keep intimate photos of your exes displayed on your bedroom wall, and seem surprised that it would bother anyone you're currently dating. I mean, it's your wall. Hang whatever you want on it, but you shouldn't be surprised by this reaction in the slightest. No sensible person will think any relationship with you is going somewhere serious. Serious? I'm sure OP would be cool if he went over to his girlfriend's house and saw a close-up photo of her ex's butt and jeans on display. You are the idiot, OP. I think that this is a power play for you to let your not-girlfriend know how much of a not-girlfriend she really is. That's the impression I got as well. Feels like really icky power dynamics. Alice also has a good point about how the ex may feel about him keeping such a photo. If I broke up with a guy, I would definitely feel weird if he kept a photo of my butt in a frame in his home. Even if the butt is clothed, it's weird. OP doesn't seem to respect the feelings of either of these women. My 25-year-old male dad is a huge car enthusiast. Growing up, my siblings and I, 30-year-old female, watched him fix cars and seeing them come and go. He got his hands on a 2004 convertible Beetle that he fixed for my mom. That car is a beast. You wouldn't think anyone had ever touched it. But sadly, my mom got into an accident a few years back that left her unable to drive. So they both decided to give it to my niece, who is my eldest brother's daughter. She was ecstatic. The car is technically only hers, but my brother, 37 years old, made her share it with his stepson, who is 18 years old. And while the kid is okay, his driving skills are subpar. When my dad gave her the car, it was a cute baby blue with a black and white interior, and she liked it. But my niece is a fan of pink, and for her birthday, my younger brother, 28 years old, and I decided to surprise her. My brother and her family were out visiting some relatives, and we had a key to his house, so we just took the car out to give it a makeover. We painted it baby pink and gave her some pink seats with a few other modifications in white, while trying to remove the black as much as we could with some other stuff. We left it looking like Barbie's car, but that's her style, so we don't care. They came back last night and saw it when they opened the garage. My niece was beyond excited and happy. She already posted some pictures, but my brother doesn't like it. He says we should have asked first, since it is a shared car, and we should have taken my step-nephews into consideration. But my brother and I disagree. That's my niece's car. My parents gave it to her. It's still in my dad's name, and she should be able to have a car she likes. He called us idiots, and apparently he's going to buy his stepson a car because we tried to embarrass him. My dad doesn't think we did something bad, but my mom does, and now I don't know what to think. Your dad gave your niece a car, which her father forced her to share. There's only one idiot in this story, and that's your older brother. He took your father's gift from his daughter in favor of his stepson. Yes, it is problematic to give a car only to one child, but that was your father's decision to make, not your brother's. You are not the idiot. I love what OP did to that car. I just hope she stops short of installing the big eyelashes on the headlights. If the person who gifted the car stated it was for one person alone, that's the owner. Her sharing the vehicle doesn't change the fact that it was given to her. It's similar to someone renting a house. They can temporarily reside there, but it's still someone else's house. You're the idiot, OP. In general, don't give cars to kids without asking their parents. It creates a really weird dynamic as well, where you're like, hey, I'm giving you a car, but your stepbrother gets screwed. It would be as weird as turning up at Christmas and giving your niece a nice present, and your stepnephew nothing. If OP has a history of treating the stepson significantly differently than the father, I'd be really angry about them giving such a big gift to the daughter. With my late wife, I have 3 kids, a female tween, a male tween named Jim, and a female pre-tween. My late wife passed away when our youngest was 7 months old. I've always known that Jim is not biologically mine. We temporarily split just after our eldest was born. We were both young and stupid then. During the split, she had a one-night stand which resulted in Jim. We reconciled just before she found out she was pregnant. It is clear that he's not mine biologically. He's white with light brown hair and green eyes. His mother was half Indian and half white. I'm black. As far as I'm concerned, Jim is my son. I'm on his birth certificate. I fell in love with him when he opened his eyes. I love him like I do my daughters. I've never sat Jim down and told him that I'm not his dad. I've been married to my new wife for the last 18 months. Her son Will, a teen, moved in with us 6 months ago. He used to live with his dad, but after a series of disagreements with his stepmom, it was decided he would come and live with us. Since he's been living with us, it's been a difficult adjustment. Will and Jim have been at loggerheads because Will thinks he should have Jim's room as it's bigger and has a big TV and PS5 in it because Will is the oldest. My wife has tried suggesting that we could swap rooms, but I have refused, as this was Jim's room long before they moved in. And I'm not making Jim move rooms because Will wants the room that's 6 feet longer than the room he's in. On the weekend, I came home from running an errand with my youngest to find Jim and Will arguing, with Will telling Jim that I'm not Jim's biological dad, so he doesn't need to listen to me. Will called Jim an idiot for thinking that someone like me could be the father of someone as pale as Jim. Son was completely heartbroken at hearing this. I've spent the weekend reassuring him that as far as I'm concerned, he is my son. I've also explained what happened and that I would support him if he ever wants to search for his biological father. I told Jim that there was nothing that would stop me from loving him like I do his sisters. I was angry with Will for telling Jim this, and I told him that he was grounded for the next month because that was an incredibly cruel thing to do. I've also confiscated the family game console from the living room. The girls don't play it, Jim plays on his own, and only Will, and I use it. I've told him I will not be putting it back for a whole month. My wife is angry that I've grounded Will, saying that it's not my place to punish him, and that Jim would eventually find out that I'm not his biological father, as it's obvious I'm not his dad. She wants me to put the game console back and unground him. Am I the idiot for grounding my stepson? Not the idiot. It doesn't matter that Jim would eventually find out on his own. It's Will's intention to be cruel and undermine your authority that is landing him in hot water. That's punishment worthy. What's worse is that your wife told Will about you not being Jim's biological father. It's no wonder Will acts as he does. He gets it from his mother. Sorry, OP, but your wife and stepson sound rather awful. Exactly. He has a wife issue more than a stepson issue. His wife condones and encourages this behavior. She wants to play favorites with her child at the cost of OP's son. What Will did was outrageous and cruel. However, I'm equally bothered that he's trying to steal Jim's room. While your wife may want you to discuss punishment with her, perhaps you should be discussing whether you want to allow your new wife and Will to continue to live with you. Hopping on here, OP, you need to check your wife here. I'm adopted, and I can't imagine anyone weaponizing that information against me, no matter the reason. Your wife minimizing your son's feelings, undermining your authority, and downplaying her son's actions is a big red flag. I understand her son was having a rough time, but that doesn't give him the right to hurt others. She should have supported you, and instead dug her heels in. The apple doesn't fall far. This is a hill to die on.